One, go. Hey everyone, I'm finally back. My name is Gabriel Agati, and today I'm here with a very special guest, Dil. Welcome to the channel. Uh, this is a very special day for us. We are doing a team report about the team that Dil used to get second place at the European International. And uh, it happens that this is the same 6 Pokemon that I brought to Worlds, so I think it's gonna be very interesting to see both players' perspective, and obviously hear more about Dio and his tournament run. So say something here, Dio, for everyone.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. Thank you for building like one of the best teams ever. So yeah, I'm Dill. I recently got second at Internet using basically just Agachi's team. I picked it up like briefly in the summer after seeing it on stream. I thought it was really cool. Then I started just grinding it when the format came back in December, and it's really all I've played since then. And I guess when you play a team that long, you kind of get decent with it, and that was that.
Yeah, definitely you're much better with the team than me because I had the opportunity to try doing well with the team, but I wasn't able to. So I'm really
Mhm.
glad someone else was able to show the world that this is a very powerful team. And yeah, so in the
Yeah.
first part, I'll talk briefly about the team building process for Rhodes, and then it's all on Deals and talking about his tournament run, his changes that he made to, in my opinion, make the team even stronger, and and yeah, so the pace that you guys are seeing in screen is from Dill. It's not my pace, but my pace will be very soon on my YouTube channel as well. The reason it's not shared here is because we are recording this just before Brazilian regionals, and a friend of mine is using the team, so I'll just keep secret about the team. Yeah, but let's start about the team building process then. So going
Yeah.
towards, I thought that the best 3 restricted Pokemon were Miraidon, Shadow, and Calyrex-Ice. So I tried building with this Pokemon pretty much. Mostly Shadow and Miraidon because they were, more my playstyle thing. I really like having fast, strong, restricted Pokemon. So I was playing a lot of Miraidon, Shadow for Worlds, and at some point in my prep, I thought that Miraidon was the guy. I thought Miraidon was the strongest archetype going to Worlds, so I kind of just gave up of Shadow and started building with just Miraidon. And the
So
first
much more
for
fun than
sorry.
doing Cali Shadow things. It's so much more fun than doing Cali Shadow things, isn't it?
I'm not sure about that actually, because I actually
Well,
have a
for
lot
me
of
it is
fun
at
playing
least.
Kali
But I
Shadow.
know you're a big balance guy as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I really like Miraidon as well, and it's just so
Hmm.
broken. And I was playing a lot with Miraidon, Iron Hands, and Farigiraf as most Miraidon players, and as most Miraidon players, I was using other fire types as well. I tried Shiu. I I actually didn't try Ogre Point, but I was very worried about this version going towards. But eventually, um, I came up with Incin, more about a comfort thing than anything else. But my
Hmm.
biggest issue playing Incin is that I just wasn't able to win the mirror. So this is kind of how Iron Threads came into the team. It's very
Yeah,
basic.
I was thinking that Incin probably was the fourth because obviously like you have the first three, and then like you do just look for fire types, and I think Incin makes like a lot of people have also tried like Incin on like more Arabega type builds, but it doesn't quite work out because it doesn't like the last two slots like there would be like Whimsicott doesn't quite synergize with it as well. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I had Whimsicott as most players before Iron Threads, but just as you said, the synergy with Instinct is just bad. I think this is more of a trick routine, especially considering Miraidon was very slow. And your Miraidon is faster, but my
Yeah,
Miraidon going
which
towards was slower. And yeah, I love how you put it on that way.
yeah.
You
Well,
even mentioned
when I
on
first started, sorry, go on.
no, you even mentioned on tip takes that this is a lot of much of a trick room team, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really
it
like that.
absolutely is. I remember when I started testing it, like there was a point where I'd realized it just clicked with me that this is a Trick Room team, and then everything just
Yeah,
made so much sense. Like the team just felt so insane once I realized that. And
yeah,
like when I started off, I was also playing a super slow Baridon. Like I was like near max HP like yours. I eventually dropped it down a little bit, and at Birmingham Regionals, I had the same six, and I was a slow Maridon there, and I just got so punished by Zamazentas, which I will
exactly.
talk about, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it's
But that's
very
why
interesting.
I've prepped it above Zam.
Yeah, I had a lot of issues with Zamazenta. In fact, one of my losses at Worlds was to Iron Death Zamazenta that was faster than my Miraidon, and
Hmm.
I just couldn't handle. It was just too much for the team because the team doesn't really have many protects. So,
Yeah, and
uh,
Iron Defense especially is so hard because like
yes,
Maridon's really the only special attacker, and like you had
exactly.
Psychic Noise over Psychic as well. Not that Frograph can really come to the matchup, or that it usually would. It doesn't usually,
Yeah,
in my
but
case.
doesn't yeah it doesn't help either. And I also
Hmm.
didn't have low kick on Iron Hands. I had wild charge though.
Yeah, yeah, you were Wild Charge,
So
weren't you?
it was just like, yeah, the team just couldn't beat Zamazenta, but you do. You made some really nice adjustments here. Uh,
Yeah.
Not only you, right? A friend of ours, Gustavo Kengo, also used Terra Poison
Mhm.
Hands to get top 4 at
Yeah,
regionals. But Terra
which
Poison
like
Hands,
that was the same weekend as Birmingham, and I had Poison Hands there as well, and that was like really fun to see that we both like come to the exact same conclusion.
yeah, it was very funny, right? Because
Mm.
I
And like I mean,
remember
also
that
William, who
you.
won that regional, also had Poison Hands. It was just a big
Mhm.
weekend for Poison Hands.
Yes, yes, because like this was just before, just after those few Zamazenta teams were very popular, right? With their
Yeah,
team
yeah.
variations.
Like
So,
the Chiyu
so
one was just like
Terabug
literally
was not
everywhere.
consistent anymore. So
Hmm.
we had to swap for Poison, and you had the same idea, and the winning team also had the same idea. It works. It works because
It's just a
Tony
good type.
Price,
It's such a good typing for
yeah,
it because like obviously you have like you keep your grounded and psychic weaknesses against most common ground type landers. You're terrestrializing Rhydon most of the time anyways.
yes,
Like if it's life orb, especially if it's like Scarf, I guess you don't have to because yours just lives the Earth power every time anyways. Mine's a roll, so that's a warning with this Rhydon spread. Don't use it. Everything's a roll. But like yeah, I was okay with Iron Hands takes the hit anyway, so Iron Hands doesn't need to Terra. And against like the only real psychic moves is like Slice Spam Calyrex-Shadow, and I'm just not bringing Iron Hands into that anyways. So it just made so much sense.
I'm curious now. You don't like this EV spread. So what would you run
Yeah.
instead?
So the CP spread's like it's like fine because like it gets the speed stat I need. It still has a good amount of special attack, and it's like it's bulky enough to take most things. Like any most of the calcs that you would want a bulky Bardon to take, it takes, but some of them are just inconsistent. Like Scarf Earth Power, you don't always live. Jolly Ice 50% of the time or something, but not always. But like you can intimidate that anyways. So it was just like it
So
was
do you think you need
like
more
Glacial
bulk
Lance
then?
isn't always. Sorry, go on. What was that?
You think you need more bulk?
I think it would probably be smart, but you can get away with it. I mean, I managed to get away with it.
But yeah, maybe you're saying that because I believe you didn't face a single Zamazenta at the USC, right?
Oh, I didn't face any Zamazentas no. So actually, the speed stat was irrelevant. So actually, I
Yeah.
could have dropped it, but
So
I wouldn't though. I don't regret having that speed stat.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And do you think outspeeding Lando is also very important? Because my my words
Outspeeding what? Sorry.
spread,
Oh, Landorus, you said.
yes, my words spread was
Yeah,
1 point faster than timid Lando.
yeah. That's what I started with as well, or like 2 points faster. I was like 170, I think, and I do think it's important. Like I think it's very important. But as you were saying, at EUIC, you don't think Timid Lander exists anymore, do you? Right? They're all modest.
Yeah, I don't
And
think.
that's kind of that's something I completely missed in prep. So yeah,
Yeah.
but I think everyone else kind of like I wanted to be faster than Zam anyway, so it didn't really matter to me. But all the other slow Maridons at that tournament, I think were probably like slower than it because they saw the same thing. They saw that Timid Lando just wasn't a thing. Timid Irish wasn't really a thing,
Yeah,
and
this is
they could just
very
get away with
weird
it.
because I faced Luca Ceribelli on stream, and after the
Mhm.
match, he told me this is the first Miraidon that I faced that is lower than mine. Then I asked about his
Yeah,
speed, and turns out that we were speed tying the whole set, but we didn't know.
that's really funny. I
Yes,
did.
it's very funny. Didn't
Yeah,
really
I mean
matter
when I
because
was
he was
running
always
Thoroughbred,
using Tailwind mode with Whimsicott, but
mhm.
I thought
Yeah,
it was very funny. And of course, if I knew that, maybe I would have played a bit different. But
Hmm.
Yeah,
It makes sense on both teams because, like, yeah, they've got the Tailwind mode, but also, like, yeah, as you said, this is kind of more of a Trick Room team, and like,
yeah.
I think being slower for this team, being slower is actually like almost better in the mirror. Maybe, not for you against Luca, I guess, because you didn't have the treads, but with the treads lines, being slow is pretty good,
Yeah,
I
man,
think.
I very much regret not having threats in UAC because I faced Trigger right and I lost to two. Uh,
Yeah.
I think maybe I could have a better run if I had threats, but uh, yeah, either way, uh, this is not about my tournament run, it's about your tournament run. And we
Mhm.
were talking about the threats, but I think there's one extra thing about this team that people are very curious about, everyone asks
Mhm.
about, and it's Roar on Farigiraf.
Mhm.
Uh, do you want to talk about that? Because I'm pretty sure you talked with Gustavo Kengo, the other
Yeah,
uh,
so I was
player.
asking Kengo about it because like I didn't have it originally, and I was really struggling into like Terra Fairy Kali Shadows,
Yeah,
and
you
my answer
can't
at
beat
Birmingham
Kali
was
Shadow Balance with Aurora
no, you can't. It's so
with
hard.
Terra Fairy.
Although my immediate answer at Birmingham was clear Amulet Iron Hands. That's how I did it.
Oh,
But
okay,
that
okay.
I realized afterwards that was
I
really
see.
stupid because Iron Hands really needs AV for like every other matchup.
Yeah, okay.
So
Oh, that's
yeah, I went back to
interesting.
AV. Then I said, okay, I'm just gonna try out Raw because it was on the original team. It's probably there for a good reason. And oh yeah, it's there for a good reason.
Yeah,
And
it completely
it's
changes
so
the
good.
matchup because what is otherwise an impossible matchup, it becomes a
Mm.
neutral, maybe even positive matchup. And against other Kali Shadow Balance teams, it's just like so good because
I
they just
I think
can't
I think I
survive.
think like basically every type of Kali Shadow is a positive matchup for the team. To be honest,
Yeah,
like I
I
played a lot of
agree.
them at EUIC. I don't know if you have the run pulled up, and like they were all just like completely fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Kali Shadow in general is our best matchup.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter if it's NDD Kali Shadow or if it's balanced Kali Shadow,
Yeah, because if
but
it's a more
some
size family where
specific
you've got two
sets can
dark
be
sides and a
annoying, right?
photograph. Oh, that's the one we haven't talked about yet. Actually, is the Urshifu Dark. So like, why
Oh
is that
yeah,
on the
we have
team?
Urshi Dark here, not Urshi Water. At first people were using Dark, then people changed it to Water, and now we are kind of
Yeah.
seeing both again.
I
Uh,
remember like all the early Miraidon teams, those were Urshifu Dark, and then some eventually they just
yeah.
realized, oh, Water's just a better Pokemon.
So me and you, we have
But
very
Urshifu Dark.
similar Urshifus. Both are Sash, both
Mhm.
are almost max attack, max speed. I was just using 252, 252, but Dill, do you want to talk about this EV spread?
Yeah, so whenever I use it, I use Urshifu like every tournament I go to. It's like my main Pokemon really, and I always put that 20 defense on just for like rain surging strikes. I think it's always worth it, even if it doesn't come up because it could come up. Uh, but I think the more interesting thing that you're referring to is the one less speed than Max,
Yeah.
which is just like it's kind of just like again like we were saying before, it's basically a Trick Room team. I want to against other Sash Urshas being slower, it kind of doesn't feel bad. But then it's also like relevant when you're not in Trick Room. Like at the end of one of my games in top four, it was like a Instant versus Instant and Urshifu against their Urshifu endgame. Which if I was speed tying Yanagi's Urshifu, I actually could have lost. But because I knew I was probably slower, I just had a guaranteed win with Flare Blitz plus CC because I wasn't able to drop my own defense before the
I
surging
love this. I
strikes.
love this. Yeah, you played
It's
this
not something that
match
comes up
really
loads.
well.
Most of the time,
I think top four
go on.
was such a good match.
Yeah.
You kind of baited him. I think it was on game one, right? With the fake out.
Oh yeah, no. Game one, I had fake out active for like every turn for like the first 5 turns, and I just never clicked it. Yeah, it was
I
it,
love
it,
playing
was
with
a
double
it was a
fake
good.
out, man, because you have so much pressure, especially with Urshi and
Mm.
Miraidon, right?
I do
And
think that might be like the strongest element of the team is having two fake outs. Like no one else is really doing it. Like other than the team is like having two fake outs with Miraidon, but it's just so insane.
yeah,
It's
it's
like they
just so
have to
powerful.
they
Yeah.
just have to protect on things. Like they have to know what Miraidon's locking into and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
and you can
So
punish that, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a
Most.
huge fan of double fake out. A lot of my teams,
Mhm.
especially in double restricted or restricted formats, have the double fake out. Uh, and as you said, like with Urshi and Miraidon, like they both take so much from fake out, and also as you said, they usually want to protect in front of Miraidon to see what he's locked into. But if they protect and you switch back your fake out to another fake out, it can be very dangerous.
Yeah, relevantly, we've got 2 choice mons on the team as well. People protecting for the treads as well.
Yeah,
So you could do something there.
Yeah, so we kind of have this fast, very aggressive mode with Miraidon and Treads, but we also, in general, are a very slow team. Treads doesn't come to most matchups, like it comes to Miraidon mostly. I don't know if you brought against anything else.
I brought it against I played 3 Calyrex-Ices and I brought it against 2 of them. Because I think that's the other matchup where it can be pretty good.
Yeah, it's interesting because I remember you told me that you consider running attack boost.
Yeah, so attack boost to Scarf
and I actually
was
also
like a consideration.
that, so I really want to hear about you on that.
Yeah, so like attack boost to Scarf would be good into like Calyrex-Shadows and stuff because you're not relying on the like. Obviously they can Incineroar you, but they can no longer Rillaboom you because you're still faster than the Cali even if the terrain's gone. And like actually the damage like being adamant attack booster versus being jolly choice band, like the attacks that you reach is only like 5 points off or something. Like it's basically the same. So there's not that much trade off. But in the end I just decided that like I'd rather just have the damage be consistent than the speed because the matchups where I don't control the speed, I feel like I don't bring treads anyways. Like into Calyrex-Shadows, I'm never bringing treads, like any type of them.
That's very interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense actually. I never thought about that really. I can bring Iron Thread sometimes against some Calyrex-Shadow teams, but I avoid doing that because I think the matchup's so.
You've just got a lot more confidence than me in the one, I think.
Yeah.
But it's also that I feel like the rest of the team is just so good into most Calyrex-Shadow builds.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I wouldn't even consider treads.
Yeah, and Terra Poison Hands also helps into Terra Fairy Calyrex-Shadow.
Yeah,
as well,
that was the other main reason for it. Was like it's good into Zam and it's so good into like Fairy Calyrex-Shadow. It's obviously worse into the Calyrex-Shadow Zab Psychic. And originally I was thinking that I'd just be bringing Ursha in those mashups instead because Ursha's like hits it before and after Terra, they're dark or normal. But at Birmingham, at EUIC, I realized that actually hands kind of always feels like the correct bring into every type of Calyrex-Shadow balance because like if they're not boosted, you take a Psychic anyways, and it's hard for them to get boosted with Raw Photograph there. And like, yeah, hands in Trick Room is just still such a good win condition. Even if they don't waste their Terror, they don't get baited by the Incin. Heavy Slam still does a lot to it, and they can't heal if they're not draining Kiss.
Agree.
So
and
yeah,
you also cover for the Raging Bolt better, right? With Iron Hands.
Yeah. Because I think Raging Bolt on Calyrex, like booster Raging Bolt on Calyrex-Shadow teams can be like the main like issue for it because like Incin and Frigg don't resist it. You don't want to just be switching Brydon in like that. So hands is like such a good piece for that.
So we talked a bit about the Calyrex-Shadow matchup, but we didn't talk what we actually do in this matchup. So I kind of want to hear from you what you do in this matchup, but. Personally, I usually lead with Miraidon for Giraffe, with Incin in the back, and either Hands or Ursha, usually Hands, because Hands is usually more consistent. But if I see that they have like Terra Normal or Terra Dark Calyrex-Shadow, I can play more aggressive, especially if I like won game 1 or something like that. I like adapting, so one lead that I thought was very powerful against Terra Normal or Terra Dark is Miraidon Urshifu, with Farigiraf Inci in the back. But yeah, what do you usually do in this matchup though?
So against Calyrex-Shadow, I basically always do what you were saying like the first time. It's like Miraidon Frigg, Incin, hands back, or like sometimes like I can mix it up with like I think any combination of Miraidon, Frigg, Incin as the lead can work based on like their compositions. Like if you feel like it's important to raw them out straight away, like if they've got they could potentially lead like an Ogre Pom plus a Cali to guarantee the setup, right? If you're leading Frigoraph Miraidon, so like Frigoraph Incin beats that, and if you're wrong, like if they lead like Rillaboom Cali, you can just U-turn out anyways and get the Miraidon on the field with the terrain, so that's not too bad.
Right.
Miraidon Incin can also work, so you kind of like they don't really want to click Fake Out because the Frigg can just come in, but then it's like weird. I don't love it as much because it's weird with the Rillaboom, isn't it? Because like you don't really have a Volt Switch target, like you can, and then you don't have a U-turn target either because they U-turn before the Incin. So I feel like Rhydon Frigg or Instant Frigg is usually the way to go with
Yeah.
hands and the other one in the back. But I
Uh,
really like the idea of the Ursh mix-up though. Like I do, that's kind of what we'll get into Terapagos later.
yeah,
But that is like
I
that's basically
wouldn't
my
do
game
that
plan
with
against
like
Terapagos.
CTS, because
Hmm.
you know if it's Terra Fairy, Shadow is just gonna
Yeah,
say
yeah.
eh.
But if you know it's normal or dark, then you can just make the calls,
Yeah.
can't you, and have the game be over so quickly.
Yes. Yes. This is the Kali Shadow matchup, and now let's talk about the Kali Ice matchup, which I also think most Kali Ice teams are a good matchup, but some are hard. I don't know if
Yeah.
you agree with that.
No, I
Uh,
completely agree. I
I
think
think if
a
they
lot of the
have,
older builds, like the more balancy ones, are very good for us. Where like
yeah,
they don't have as many
exactly,
fast
I agree.
pieces.
But I think if
I,
they
I think
have
I think
like
you're
entity, they are more hard trick oriented. It can be annoying because entity obviously.
yeah, kinda. I feel like I'm not struggled too much with the hard trick room ones between like train control and double fake out, and then like I guess you have to win a speed tie against Ursa Luna sometimes with Iron Hands, but like
Yeah,
that's
yeah. That
it's better it's better
you're pretty
it's better
much
than not having the speed tie though.
you pretty much
Yeah,
reached the point that I
so it's a good
wanted
matchup half the
to.
time, right?
Yeah, if they have Ursaluna, speed ties with hands can be very annoying.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah, if
I
they
think the
have
more
like
balanced
hotkey
ones
helmet
are.
on Indy as well,
Mhm.
because
Yeah, so
but
like
like no helmet
Hershey it's
is
weird
usually
there.
just fine.
Against
Uh,
like Indeedee Kali, what I would normally do is lead Instant Ursh, just swap Ursh out into Rhydon and fake out the Kali turn one, and then you're in such a like good position after that to do else.
cool. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Um,
Mm.
this is
Obviously, it
something that
doesn't work. Like they can just
I've done
they can
as
just trick them
well.
with the Indeedee, of course, but it's like and like especially if it's like a multiple game set, then they'll make adaptations. But that's normally my approach to it.
Right. Yeah,
Is
because
like
like
not have a
on
not great sports state turn one, but then turn two try and have a good one.
yeah. No, yeah, and even if they set up Trick Room is not too bad, because
Yeah, we got mince hands, right?
yeah, because
The Torkoal is kind of weird if they have that, but I mean, between hands and instant, it's normally okay.
yeah, but the most balanced teams where we can pretty much fake out without fearing too much, I think
Mhm.
it's a good matchup for us. We have a lot of
Yeah.
options. For my
I,
version specifically, I think it was even better because I have Terra Water Hands, which sometimes come up,
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's very strong sometimes. But
But also, like, it feels like terrestrializing Miraidon is just always correct against Chaos teams, anyways. Before my top four set, Kengo was like, I was talking to Kengo about how to play against the team because I was like so nervous, and he was like, "Yeah, just make sure you Terra Miraidon every game. Don't do what I did at Rio."
no,
Apparently,
I
that's how
agree.
he
I
lost.
agree.
Yeah.
If you don't have Terrawater on hands, always Terra the Maridon. I agree. But if you
Yeah.
have Terrawater on hands, sometimes you can Terra the hands.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I liked having Terrawater as a way also to have a better odds against Kyogre, which I
Mhm.
think some Kyogre teams can be really annoying sometimes,
Yeah. I
especially if they
agree.
have like
Kyogre is.
Gorilla and Amogus. Uh,
I think Kyogre is like overall the most annoying restricted for this
yeah,
team to
which is so
face for sure.
ironic because you know
Yeah,
you
but
have
the thing is,
guys
like,
that
Kyogre's not a water type; it's a
yeah
grass type,
is a
isn't
grass
it?
type. Yeah, yeah.
And if it's not a grass type, the Amoonguss is a fairy type, but that's equally annoying.
I know, right? Yeah, Terra Fairy Helmet Among Us is actually so annoying for this team. Uh, but we have
Yeah,
ways to deal with it,
but
especially
with
with
them,
heavy Island on hands, and of
yeah.
course
Back to Kali Ice for a second,
positioning.
though. I think, well, there's two pretty good VODs of it now. There's me in top four, then also your set at Worlds that was on stream is a very good example of how to fight Kali Ice as well. But the thing is, like, the builds like Arash's back then kind of don't exist anymore. They've kind of gone more of like less balancey and more just like a lot of them have like a super fast mode, right, with like a Scarf Lando or something like that,
Yeah, either
and
Land
those
or
can
Flutter Shield, which are still
yeah.
winnable matchups. I think Flutter Shield is not too much an issue, especially because of
No, I don't
hands.
think it's too bad.
Lando can
And
be a
then
bit more
Scarf
annoying,
Lando,
but
if they don't have a way to protect it, it just dies to
yeah,
Steel Roller, so that's really
yeah,
fun.
yeah. I
Yeah.
I remember like I would always just go for a Steel Roller and get a KO. Then once on
Mm.
ladders, someone survived that and was like, I don't know if
No,
this
it's
is
not
the
guaranteed. Yeah, it's
yeah,
not
it's
guaranteed,
not a
but it's
guarantee. It's
such a
like
favorable.
90% chance or
Like
something.
it's so worth going for, but it
Yeah,
can happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
I think the Cali Ice team that I'm actually most scared of with this team is like stuff like the Tang builds with like the Tailwind and the Lando and like the
yes, yes,
Mystic Water Rush.
I agree. I agree. It can be annoying. Was one of the reasons actually why I changed it to Uishi Water for UIC. I was a bit worried about this team. Uh, but
Yeah,
in
because like the
general,
two potential Terra Fairies makes Ursh really hard to bring. Yeah.
yeah. In general, I think it's a very strong team with a lot of positive or neutral matchups, and we obviously have bad matchups, but all teams have. And with so much things to cover in this meta game, I think it's a very solid team if you just want like a solid team in general. Were
I
any
think
matchups that you were
I think we
afraid
kind of
of
have
facing?
tools, like all the matchups that could be bad. I think we kind of have tools anyways. Like stuff like the Tang team. You could just get a lot of reads right with double
Yeah,
fake out, and then that's kind of okay.
yeah, fair,
Or
fair.
like
Yeah, with
with
Miraidon, I
like
think
against
you always can go for reads, right? Because it's just so broken. It's
yeah,
just so much
sure.
damage. If you get one turn right, you get a one KO, and this can be. Uh, One thing that I
Yeah,
figured when playing this team is that if you get the first KO, you usually just win, like, because it's just so hard for your
yeah, it does
opponent
feel
to
like
come
that a
back.
lot of the time.
Uh,
Because they just trade so well after that. But
yes,
that's Maridon in general, isn't it?
I think it's
Yeah.
Miraidon in general, but this team more because of Inci and because of
Yeah,
Inci
there's so
pretty
much
much.
control. Like it's like there's if you have a lead, it's not too hard to just find safe plays to navigate the rest of the game thanks to having the two fake outs.
And another matchup that I think it's very good for us is Terapagos, because
Yes, yeah.
Terapagos what I usually do is I have two modes, either the double fake out Urishimi Raidon mode or the Farigiraf mode, and both modes are very strong. So Farigiraf obviously prevents roar, sorry, prevents Calmine setup, so you don't really care about that. And double fake out is just solid because you can have a lot of board control, board positioning, and you have two Pokemon that
If
can
you kill the
pressure.
Incin, the hands just always beats the Terapagos in the end as well, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And what do you usually do in this matchup? And what are the
Yeah.
changes compared to Marco and Francesco team, the Italian screen tail team from the more standard version with
Mhm.
fire, water, grass.
So against like the older teams with like it was just like Incineroar, Fluttermane, that stuff. Uh, it's interesting hearing what you would normally do because I feel like I've got like one mode that just feels kind of consistent. I just always go with, which is I lead Miraidon Ursh with Farig Incin in the back. I never bring hands because I'm just so scared of their
Oh,
Will-O-Wisp Incin,
really?
really.
That's so
Which
interesting.
is like I just I don't. I mean, like you're saying, it's a good matchup, but I still just prefer to play it aggressively, I guess, even though I don't necessarily have to. So it's like what Maridon Ursh lead does is like if they lead fake out plus trap. Obviously, like they know Frig's probably in the back. They don't want to go for fake out, but if they don't go for fake out, I could just double up the Terapagos and kill it turn one and just win the game. So they have to respect it. So like mixing up between like swapping Ursh out into Frig and Volt switching back into Ursh off of the Terapagos, or like swapping Rhydon out into Frig and just wicked blowing the Terapagos if you think they're gonna protect, or like stuff like that. Just get an early lead, get Ursh back on the field next to Fergaraf, and then you can Helping Hand just kill a slot the next turn. And if you get that lead, you probably win, and that's normally my approach to it.
That
But
makes a
obviously,
lot
there's a
of
lot of mind
sense.
games in this.
I
Like,
really
do
like
you?
I really like this lead animation, Urishimi Raiden with Farig in the back specifically, because as you said, it's just so oppressive.
Yeah, and then
And
Incin as the fourth just makes sense to me to like pivot back into the good positions.
yeah, makes sense,
Like
makes sense.
it come nothing on their team really like they're not if they have an Urshifu, they're not really bringing it ever in this matchup. So
Yeah,
nothing on the
if they
team
bring
really
it even
does well
better,
into the
because it
Incin.
means they didn't bring something else.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
so
so
I
it's
think
like
it kind of
Incin's just free repositioning. Yeah.
yeah, I really like what you said. I have done this mostly in like game twos. It's like usually I what I would like doing with the team was usually a more slower mode on game one and a more aggressive
Hmm.
mode game two if I won.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
And
Like against a lot of Kali shadows, like game two, I would just like knock the Kali, like calling them to like not Terra, especially if it's like Terra Dark, because they don't want to get U-turned. That's a really good like value out of U-turn. Is it makes Terra Dark Kalis not want to Terra, so you can just
mm,
knock it in game two sometimes. Or like against the Terapagos, maybe you do just go for the double up with like Drift CC into or Draco CC or something like that.
yeah, I think Terapagos in general is like easy. Screen Tail is a bit annoying. Fluttermane is also
Yeah.
annoying. Fairy types in general are annoying for the team. If it's
So
the
like yeah,
Fluttermane
as you're
version,
saying with like the Marco Francesco team, I'd played it a fair bit on ladder before the tournament. I was really terrified of the screen tail, but a lot of people just weren't bringing it, which maybe implies that they wouldn't, but I feel like they would. I feel like better players would bring it. So I was terrified at the possibility of having to play one of those two because I didn't feel prepared at all into it, to be honest. So like, what's kind of your thoughts on fighting that team? Because I really don't know.
It's interesting that you mentioned the screen tail because I remember when we were preparing for your finals.
Yeah,
Um,
I was scared of Scream Cell there, but it ended up being terrible in the matchup. Yeah,
no, yeah,
but
but when you
I
said,
think the
"Oh,
difference is that
screen tail is
against Wolf's
extremely
team, we want to be in
dangerous,"
Trick Room.
yes,
Against Francesco and Marco's team, we don't want to be in Trick Room because we want Urshifu to be the MVP.
yes,
So it's
that
like,
too,
and
and
that
there is
makes Scream
also
Cell so
one
much
very
scarier.
important detail, which is the fairy move. Because
Yes,
like
Gleam
dazzling
is
is
like
actually
so
so
good.
annoying because you can just ship stuff. Because like our team likes making a lot of switches, and if they
Hmm.
just keep clicking dazzling, they pressure the Urishi and they do
It
shit
adds up
damage to
so
stuff,
much,
which
yeah.
is. But
The Urshifu you
Wolf
can
didn't
protect
have
stuff, but the Rhydon you can't protect. The Rhydon's gonna have to take a Gleam or two, and yeah, it just adds up.
yeah, but Wolf didn't have the fairy move, which make our life
Hmm.
much easier because
Yeah,
Screen Tail wasn't really much of a threat. In fact, the Perish mode was really bad against our team because we have
yeah,
U-turn,
it
we
was
have
just never
Roar.
coming to the matchup. Yeah.
It's just not great. But we figured that Fluttermane with Focus Sash, it's well we knew that before, but
Yeah,
it's just so
Fluttermane was like
annoying. It's
the
so
most
annoying.
annoying one to get because the Koraidon kind of gets rid of itself, but the Fluttermane just sticks around.
Yeah,
So that's why
yeah,
like the game plan was basically always to fake out Karai, Wicked Blow the Flutter turn one,
yeah.
and
Because we
I
were
kind of went off the script, and that's my fault. But I feel like we had like pretty good plans into the team.
Yeah, so that was basically the plan because we would basically make a neutral trade on turn one,
Hmm.
right? Trade the focus sashes pretty much, but that ends up being a good trade for us in long term because
Yeah,
once Flutterman
because
is
like
gone,
Ush,
uh,
I know from his
Pride is not
perspective,
too
Ush
much
was
of a
like the
threat.
scariest one of the teams, like how we were seeing the Fluttermane. But if Ush gets like two hits off, I feel like it's done its job anyways,
Yeah,
so I
I
didn't
agree.
mind it too
I
much.
agree. So I think we both agree that the finals matchup is good for us, but I very much
Yeah.
disagree with Wolf when he
Oh, it's
said,
not 80-20. No,
yeah,
it's.
like no
I think
way,
it's.
like no, it's like I think it's kind of
I
neutral. I
could go
think it's
with
like
60-40. I think
45.
that's okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it was definitely not like that much in our
because
favor. He was
Flutterman
like
is so
very over
annoying
exaggerating it.
and and with Insamungus it's not gonna be easy to handle. So
Yeah.
even I think it was scary in a sense that we have more options than him. Like we can bring more Pokemon to the match because like
Hmm.
again the perish mode is just like so bad. But I very much disagree when he said it was like 80-20. Like it
No,
really isn't.
yeah.
It's not. It's not. Uh,
I'm curious what was happening in his testing to make them think that because like. From speaking to him afterwards, apparently everyone was leading Rhydon into him every game as well, which is like perfect for him. So I don't know, I don't know where it's coming from, but
yeah.
yeah. But either way,
But
it's a very fun matchup though,
it's a
and
very
yeah.
fun matchup, and it was a very exciting finals.
Mm.
I was cheering for you so bad, man. I was so mad when Wolf got the SP death drop. Um, I think it was with Shadow Ball. I think it was on game three.
Well, it didn't end up mattering.
Yeah,
None
because
of
you
the RNG
switch.
in the
Yeah,
set
but
mattered at
it could
all,
have
but
mattered because like I'm
it could
pretty
have,
sure you
yeah.
switch out after that, after the drop, I think,
Hmm.
and maybe you could just stay in. Like
Yeah,
I may
I'm
be
trying to remember which
forgetting
turn it was. This
something,
was game three, right?
but I wanna I wanna
Yeah.
hear from you because you were there. It
Mhm.
was your first time playing finals of a major tournament.
Mhm.
You are
Well, we're not all
since
like you and have done it multiple times, yeah.
no. Only twice, and both times I lost. So I guess I'm
Yeah.
twice as worse than you. So,
No,
uh,
that's not how it works.
uh, but
But
I want to see how was your mind, like, cause I remember when I first met you, which was on finals day.
mm,
We meet each other in the venue just before the finals, like a couple hours before, and you were so calm. You seemed like in a very good mentality.
yeah,
So
I feel
I
like I
want to hear
just
from you. Was that like the whole tournament? How you think your mentality, you know, how you think this affected to your run? Because obviously you played so well the whole tournament, and
mhm.
you won most of your matches, and you reached finals with both games on string. You like wrecking your opponent like 2-0 easy.
Well, one of
Uh,
them was just Treads to thank, but yeah, the top four set I was
No,
very
but
happy
still,
with.
still. So
Yeah.
I want to hear from you, what was your mentality before the tournament, in the tournament,
Mhm.
going to finals?
I just felt like the pressure was off the whole time, to be honest. Like, I was really stressed for Birmingham because I'd done so much prep for it, and I was just so scared of like doing badly again after all of that. So getting a decent result there just kind of like put my mind at ease. It was like, oh yeah, I've done what I need to do. I've like there's nothing to prove to myself anymore. So going into EUIC, I was like, I wasn't thinking I was going to do well. I was like pretty nervous for it. So I'd been doing a bit worse on ladder before that as well. But like there wasn't any stress or pressure or anything. Like every set, I just sit down, try and have fun, like play some good Pokemon, and like yeah, I was just ended up just playing really good the whole time.
But
It's just
when
kind of how
was
it
the
works out
moment that
sometimes.
you realized, oh wait, maybe I could actually win this? Like maybe I could actually like go very far in the tournament. When was this moment for you?
Uh, like I don't think I was ever thinking I could potentially win it until like I was in finals, and then like obviously you have the thought because there's only one set left, like it's like a 50-50 chance, right? Before that it was well, once I made it to Top Cut, there was just so much going on so quickly, so I could hardly think about that. Which I think that probably helped with the play though. Just like all I really wanted to focus on was the sets, and like that's what I did.
Yeah,
Like
that's
even
very
like
good. That's
um
very good. I
even like
think.
qualifying for Worlds with top four, like I wasn't going for Worlds this season. Like this was literally the only way I
Oh, so
possibly could
so
have
you think you had
qualified,
more pressure
and that
going
didn't
to
even
top
that
eight
didn't really
than
hit me. I've won another set, I guess. Yeah.
but you think you had more pressure going to top eight than finals then, or not? You're fine with it.
Um. Well, no, obviously the finals pressure was like immense. Like you were saying, I was pretty relaxed on the Sunday, and I was because I felt like no one really expected me to win. I'd like there wasn't too much pressure on me, but once I like sat down on the stage and started playing, is like the amount of like that I was overwhelmed for like throughout the whole weekend was just like starting to hit. Like in the middle of game two, I could kind of like I think I played the latter half of the set pretty sloppily because I just like my brain just couldn't focus anymore. Like I couldn't see the lines or anything,
Right. Yeah, because
which
I think.
I'm quite sad about, but I don't think I could have done much better in the moment. So I'm
Right,
not beating
right, that
myself
makes
up over
sense.
it or anything.
I because like obviously like game one, you both played like so well, and it's very
Mm.
interesting that game one was played very similar to one of our practice games.
Yeah, it was just like prep, wasn't it? Yeah.
Uh,
And
and
then game
and
two, I
game
told
two.
you before that. Yeah, I think Incin Farig with hands in the back is another good mode to try. So I figured it was worth going for, and it started off very well, and
Yeah,
then
it started
I
off
just really
very
messed it
well.
up
I
in the
agree.
middle.
I think in the turn that you clicked vote switch with Miraidon, maybe if you just electro drift, I was thinking that maybe you would just
Yes,
win.
I agree. There were a few turns like that where it could have been better.
Yeah.
I mean, for one, I just let my Incin die to Sludge Bomb for literally no reason. Like I didn't have to do that. Farig should have just come in instead of Incin,
Yeah, but now
and
that
then
we have watched the finals, you'll probably watch it late after the match, maybe many
mm,
times. I was in the crowd, so there was no pressure on me. Uh,
yeah.
and obviously, I know that once you are there, you are on string and on the big stage and playing for so much on the
Mm.
line. I know it's very very hard, and, and
Yeah, and also
especially after
Wolf was
playing
making a
like
lot of mistakes
15 rounds
during
of
the set.
Sways,
Yeah.
and you were facing the best player in the world. Like everyone agrees
Mm.
with that, right?
Yeah.
Like Wolf is the best, right?
And again, like he was messing up a lot as well. Like the pressure was getting to him. Like game one, he let his Flutter Mane die for no reason. Game three, he let his Amoonguss die for no reason. He had a completely guaranteed way to win that game, and he threw it away and had to go for like a call instead. So
Yeah,
it's like it happens to everyone, yeah.
I could
But
see that Wolf
I'm glad it was
was
an excited
nervous.
fight.
I
Yeah.
think we from the crowd could see that both of you were nervous. I think before the match,
Mm.
Wolf was very confident, but after game one, when he saw that, oh
Yeah.
wait, my opponent is actually like so good and he played so well, and I'm probably gonna lose this. I could
Yeah.
tell that Wolf was nervous. I can definitely tell that. But I think, of
Mm.
course, he has a lot of more experience than you, than
Yeah, and he'd
probably
prepped
than
it a lot
anyone
more as
else
well.
at this
And
point.
it was my decision to not like do like super intensive prep because I knew it wouldn't be good for me. It would just stress me out too much. But yeah, I guess that it does make a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah,
But I'm
I
just glad it
think
was an
everyone is
exciting finals to
very
watch.
impressed by how you played. I'm pretty sure. Like I saw
Mm.
on Twitter and saw on multiple places, like everyone saying a lot of good stuff about you, and I very much agree. I think you played so well. You definitely must be proud, and definitely not the
Mm.
last time you're gonna see you on big stage. I'm pretty sure.
Hopefully, yeah.
Uh,
Well, I feel like we've gone a bit off topic from the team now, though.
yeah. But it's fine. We're having fun. We're having a good time.
Yeah. Well, this is
Uh,
kind of what we wanted this to be, anyways, right?
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
I think we mentioned about Roar on Farik. We mentioned about Iron
Mhm.
Threads. We mentioned about the Terra on Iron Hands. So I think the
Oh, one thing a lot of people want to ask about is the U-turn on Incin. So
yeah
if you
the
want to talk about
U-turn
that a bit.
instant. So have you always used U-turn or you had party
I,
shot
I, I had
systems?
yeah, I used a U-turn from the start. I agreed with it from the start.
Okay.
It just makes so much sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So when people ask me why U-turn and not parting shot, I think the best answer I can get is like why parting shot over U-turn?
Exactly. Yeah. Like people are just so conditioned into thinking like non-AV Incin always has to have parting shot because it's the better move, right?
Yeah,
But like
but
U-turn's still amazing,
yeah, U-turn is
and like it
amazing.
just does different things.
Yeah, exactly. So U-turn is a more consistent way of switching out because you don't get, you don't care about town, you don't care about clear
Mhm.
amulet, you don't care about like throat chop. I don't know. You don't care about anything really. You just click U-turn. There are no immunities. Always gonna work. Uh, another
And it's value
interesting.
that sticks as well. Like you get the damage down and it stays compared to parting
Yeah,
shot where they can switch out.
exactly. Yeah, and another two very interesting interactions are the damage, which I think personally I think it's especially useful into Xianpao.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's pretty much against everything that has focus size
Rillaboom and
or
Amoonguss are the other two big ones. I think.
yes,
Like getting that chip on Amoonguss is
yes,
insanely
it's
good.
so crucial. Exactly. The chip damage into both Rilla and Mungus are so crucial because of putting things on range, right?
Mhm.
So Draco Meteor from right on right.
I
Uh,
think opposing Instant can be kind of weird to remove as well. Like if you're not doing it with the on, so getting chip on that for like the Urshel the hands or something is good too.
yeah, the chip damage is just so good because Miraidon obviously it's probably the Pokemon format that does more amount of damage, and if it's not getting the KO, it's almost getting it. So
Hmm.
U-turn and Fake Out, and of course Sucker Punch from Urshifu. We always help you getting those KOs that you normally wouldn't. And Hockey Helmet is basically just mostly for Urshifu, at least for me. uh, but
It's just kind of good into everything. There's so many physical
but yeah,
attackers.
I, for
I think something interesting
Citrus
is
Berry
that
is not great into Kali,
sorry, go on.
so Helmet
Mhm.
I guess is just a great item to have.
Something really interesting with Helmet is as well as that people always assume it's going to be Fizz Def Instant when they see Rocky Helmet. It's like, oh, you got to be EV to take 3 Surging Strikes, right? So like
Oh
that's something
yeah,
that catches a lot of people out.
and I was not.
You were adamant, right?
Yeah, I was adamant. I was brave
Mm.
actually, because
Right. Okay. Yeah.
but
Wait. Was yours slower than mine then?
I don't know.
Mine reaches
I'm
70
like
speed.
29 IVs on speed, I think. Brave.
Oh, if you're brave, that's like probably slower than mine, right? Let me look.
I think I'm like 1 point faster than you, maybe.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe. What was your Frigoraph? Was Frigoraph around the same range?
Oh, Farigiraf was just like 31 IVs. No, no.
Okay. I, I, I can't
I
remember. Have
just
I
wanted
told
an
you?
instant to be slower than Farig. I don't know if your instinct is lower
Okay,
than
yeah.
Farig.
So yeah. So your Instant would speed time my Frig, but yeah.
Oh, really?
Have I told you why the Instant and Frig are these speed stats? I can't remember if I have.
No.
So it's like, yeah. Well, I'd say anyways for the viewers. So I wanted Instant to be slower than Frig.
Yeah, me too.
Like that just makes sense. And I wanted them, but I also wanted them to be like a similar speed stat, so that you can kind of just like check for each other. Like that's
Yeah,
just normal
me
stuff.
too. Me too. It's
Yeah.
so funny
So
that we
and
came to the
so
same conclusion without ever
yeah,
talking
I feel like
about it.
this is how like Instant and Frig always should be. I think they should always be like one apart, unless like there's a good reason not to. So the reason it's these specific stats is because I've got a shiny Frig, which is 13 speed IVs that I wanted to
Oh.
use. So I
Oh, that's
just like
hilarious.
went and caught an instant that's 1 point slower than that, and that's all it is.
Okay, okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's something.
but like the good thing is anyways though, because like you're slower than like Calyrex who are like creeping a little bit. I think actually the team would value from being would have the team would kind of like being faster than Calyrex on these two sometimes. So it's like it's a weird call to make. But I just stuck with what I knew, which was this for this tournament, and like, it was fine. It hardly comes up these two speed stats,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the only reason.
Yeah, I think the Incin, yeah, I don't know now because a lot of people are running speed on Kali Ice, but going to roads, I think my Incin was definitely outspeeding more Kali Ice than underspeeding.
That's really interesting. Okay, yeah.
But right now I
But
don't
now,
have
yeah,
like
nowadays they're just all faster, and nowadays they actually don't put up Trick Room against Miraidon teams as well because they know it's min speed hands. So I think that's why being faster in Sim would probably be valuable. But
and one
it worked
interaction
out
that
though.
was very important for me in practice, but again, this is for roads, uh, is
Mhm.
that under Trick Room, I really like having the option of going for knockoff plus psychic noise into cover cloak Kali Shadow, which
Yes,
obviously
no, I agree with
is
that.
not really a
Yeah.
thing for your team because you have psychic, not psychic noise.
So, but I was psychic noise and up until like the final week before this, and
Oh
then I
yeah,
switched to
and do you think
psychic.
psychic was a good call?
I think
Oh
more
what?
damage into Amoonguss is so nice. More damage into
Oh
Ursh is so nice. Psychic noise would have never come up in the tournament, so I wasn't punished for it. But I do agree with you that it's a nice interaction into Kali
yeah,
Shadow. But like our Kali Shadow matchup is so good anyways, to where we don't really need that to
right.
happen. I feel like.
I copied your team for the global challenge that we just had last week.
Mhm.
So I was
Right?
using
Yeah.
your I was using your Miraidon spread, and I was also using Psychic on Farig.
Oh, I'm
Um,
honored. Wow.
I
Uh,
kept the
how did you
Tailwander on
find it then?
hands because
Yeah,
I
that's
was like,
fair.
yeah, maybe I can get someone off guard.
I
Uh,
think with Iron Hands, uh, yeah, I was talking to William Vasilino about this the other day. I think Iron Hands Terra types is all just comfort. You should use whatever one's comfier to you, be it like water, bug, poison, grass, like whatever you've been practicing with is probably the best type for you.
right, right. And well, it was my worst ever GC. I think this
Oh
season.
no.
I
Oh,
just could.
sorry.
I finished
I got
like
the.
1600, but it was like I think like I never blamed the team about my losses. I only faced I think one Zama, so
Mhm.
the speed was kind of useless. But when I faced the Zamazenta, I won, and I won because well, I had a much easier time because I was faster, and I never I think I never really missed the bulk, so I think the spread was a good call. But
Cool. Yeah, that's good
I
to
don't know,
hear.
man. I just can't win with Miraidon on CTS. Like I just
No,
can't
I
play.
can't either. It's
I
like
can't.
I brought it to the. I didn't play this last little challenge, but I brought it to the one before and it went terribly. So
Because
I think I'm
when I
done
play
with close
Miraidon
team
on
shooting
like
right on now.
Showdown ladder, it's like so easy. Like it feels like I'm playing
Mhm.
VGC easy mode. But when I play on CTS, I just can't win. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm probably like
No, it's hard to pinpoint like exactly why as well. It just kind of doesn't happen. You just don't win games sometimes with it, and yeah,
yeah. So for
no, I'm
next global
completely with
challenge,
you.
I'm probably not using Miraidon. And if you manage to
Yeah.
go well with Miraidon on CTS, I want to be like you one day. Uh, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
those are the six
Oh, I mean, I
Pokemon.
think well, you're the one that's done it, right? With Terranormal Hyper Beam. So, but we should all be looking up to you.
Yeah, but I didn't do well either. I finished
But you
like
did okay with it, right?
I think I finished like I got 80 CPs, so I think this is top 64. I think.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad, but like if I
It's
had
far better than I've
Terra,
ever done in a
yeah, like
GC.
Terra Normal Hyperion was just bad, like it's trash, but it was fun.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess this is one better than most. And you can self
Mm,
grow as well, so it looks like
yeah.
you're smart, but it's just
I was looking at the clip again the other day, and I love that like the one time you clipped it, it didn't even get the Oko.
yeah, because I face a fucking
The
AV
AVS
Soluna,
Luna,
man.
yeah.
Like, what the fuck? But yeah, anyway. But I won that game. Won the game.
Uh,
But yeah, I think we talked already about Kali Shadow matchup, Kali Ice, Terapagos. We talked very quickly about
we talked a little bit. We
Zamazenta.
mentioned that Kyogre was hard, but we didn't really get into Kyogre, so I think
Yeah,
that's an
I
important
think
one.
Kyogre depends a lot of the other Pokemon, to be honest. Some Kyogre teams are fine, some are hard. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously,
I
Lightning
think the
Bane is
balance
annoying.
team with like Rillaboom and Amoonguss and like the Roaring Moon that never comes to the matchup and the Scarfish is like kind of okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you gotta get stuff right, but it feels like evenish maybe or like slightly losing.
I think depends a lot because like if they have Hockey Helmet and Terra Fairy on Mungus, it's very annoying.
Yeah, it's annoying, but
Um,
it's like I still don't think it's the worst because if you're like baiting the Terran Amoonguss is like not too hard to do, and you can like heavy slam it, which is using up your hand so that it can't beat the Kyogre, but also like they've not terrored the Kyogre in that instance, I guess. So it's
what do
very
you
weird.
usually do
I
in this
think
matchup? I'm curious to see.
I'm trying to remember. I've got it written down. uh, I don't feel like I'm too good at it, but it's normally I normally bring Incin. I lead like Miraidon Incin, which is kind of like the dedicated lead into any team with Rillaboom and Moongus. I feel like
Yes,
or like
exactly,
Ice Flare
exactly.
Moongus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miraidon Incin just feels like the way to go, and I don't mind wasting my Terra on Incin against Kyogres because I don't think there's a better place to Terra against those teams anyways, unless you're
Yeah.
like
Sorry,
unless you're
what
bringing
happened?
which so
But
I'll get to that after. But yeah, just ride on Instant, just play like the pivot games around. They shouldn't ever click Karma, and they should just be clicking Origin Pulse. But between like Miraidon and like, Instant will take a couple, Iron Hands will take a couple. If you make the right plays, I feel like you can just like you can win sometimes.
yeah,
It's just make the right
it's a
plays
lot
though.
about positioning, right? And but we
Mm,
usually can do more damage than our
yeah,
opponent
and
because
I
we
guess
have Urshifu that costs
Furgraph
you
would
so
be my
much.
fourth usually
Yeah.
with that game plan to stop the
Interesting,
fake outs.
interesting.
Yeah,
So
but I
I
think
do have a clear
the
game
other way to
plan. Is
approach
that
it, right, is is
sorry?
I think just you can kind of just if you call the lead right, it's like a lot. I think Kyogre and Moongus is their best lead, but a lot of players don't realize that they'll lead Kyogre Rillaboom, and that is like so hard punished by Farigiraf Urshifu lead. You just if you get it right, you can just get a kill turn one, and I don't think that's a bad way to approach it
Yeah,
either.
you mentioned something very interesting because sometimes I don't bring Farigiraf in this matchup, and
Hmm.
sometimes I lead with like Urshi and they lead with Rila Kyogre, and I'm like, I don't think
Hmm.
that's a great lead. But they won't
No, I
just
don't think
fake
so.
out,
But
right?
they keep doing it,
Like
so
they won't
like
just
yeah.
fake out, right? Because if I switch into Farid, they just lose. And it happened to me
Mhm.
like once or twice that they just go for fake out. And I didn't have the Farid, and I felt so dumb. So I started bringing
Yeah.
Farid in the back every time. So basically, what I would do is like I would either lead Miraidon Urshi with Farid in the back, or as you said, Miraidon Incin. Because Miraidon Incin is our lead to counter Rila and Among Us because we can Volt
Yes.
Switch or even Hard Switch
Or like
and
hard
U-Turn,
switch and U-turn. Yeah, yeah.
and we bring back this terrain. Uh, so I think those are the two main leads. Um, I think if it's Terra Fairy Among Us with Hockey Helmet, it can be a bit annoying. If it's like Terra Steel, it's
Mm.
usually fine. Uh,
It's just you gotta like play so careful in the first few turns until they go for the Terra, and then it's a bit
yeah,
more straightforward.
yeah.
But that sorry, if they're just clicking Origin Pulse like on those turns, then you can lose so much value before you actually get to like click go basically. So it's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, but usually the teams that give more trouble from Kyogre are those that have Landorus. I don't know if you agree
Hmm.
with that. A
No,
lot of
absolutely. Like
Kyogre teams
Tornadus,
have
Landorus, Kyogre is like
Shenpao as
so hard to
well.
beat.
Shenpao is also always annoying for me, right? For this team, I think
Hmm.
a bit less because we have Ensign. But I think a
Yeah,
well
yeah.
played
The Champa one's
Shenpao will also
too
give
bad.
us trouble.
I played against the Stefan Mott team in round one of EUIC, and like that felt pretty fine. Like I had to like get some. I just got a very good turn one both games, and that like snowballed it both times. And but theirs didn't have. Well, they did have Tailwind, but they didn't bring their Tailwind because like they correctly identified that like our team's a Trick Room team. Um, but they didn't have Landorus. That's the big deal. So it's a
But
lot easier to get
and
like
what
good trades
shows
early
your
on.
gameplay into that? Because if we develop
I think
the tailing mode, usually Farig as a lead is good. But if they
yeah,
bring
so like
like
Maridon
increase the
Freak's just a
speed,
very good lead, I think. If you because normally like the initial game plan would be to get Trick Room up and Trick Room Iron Hands them, or like Trick Room Ursh them. So like I led Maridon Frig game one into Rillaboom Kyogre, and I got this was like turn one of the entire tournament. It felt quite lucky. I just helping hand Draco with the Rillaboom because normally I wouldn't do that with this Maridon Frig because it's not that much special attack. Because they're Terra Ground high horsepower, I figured it was more offensive, so I could do it. And they went for the Terra trying to catch me vaulting on it and just lost the game straight away. And then
oh
game two, I was like, as I was saying before, I was like, oh, they're leading Kyogre Rillaboom. I can probably just go Urshifu Furig and get a kill turn
ah
one, and that is what happened.
oh they just go
And
for
then yeah,
fake
well
and
they didn't. No, no, I led for a graph, so I just helping hand it. Like
oh okay
like I
oh
identified from the damage I saw in game one, I was like, this Kyogre probably dies to helping hand CC, so I just went for it. And I
without
haven't calculated. I think
even
on
without
it was
terror.
no bulk Kyogre, I think, so I think that is just always a kill.
It was
I felt
like
pretty
no
comfy on
mode,
it.
but modus because it was lower than you.
Yeah, yeah,
Interesting,
yeah.
interesting. Were any matchups that you were scared of facing going to the tournament, or like you felt you
Yeah, so like
wouldn't?
other Kyogre teams, like we were saying, ones with like yeah, Landorus and uh like the one they've been doing well online with like the Ursaluna was kind of spooky. There's so many different Kyogre teams, and they're all like so scary because they all play so differently. So you got to play differently into them. and I just wasn't confident at all really into any of them, but kind of figured out. One of my losses in day one was to a Kyogre team that was it was like balancy. It had like it had the Rillaboom, it had the Fairy Moongus. They also had Terra Fairy Landorus Eye. So
Oh,
it was
that
just
sounds very.
so many things going
So
on.
many
Yeah.
coin flips there.
Game one I only
Were
lost
you
because
able
I
to
missed two
call every
Dracos in a
time that
row.
you went for the Terra? Like, how was this matchup?
Yeah. So game one they did just let me Draco it, but I missed two Dracos in a row, so that's how I lost game one. But then game two they played a lot better than me, so yeah. And in that matchup it's just tough.
Right. Cool. Um, yeah. And uh, what about Zamazenta? Because
Yeah.
we mentioned that
So
the speed was specifically to outspeed Zamazenta by 1 point.
yeah,
And
and
it's
that
very
flips the matchup
crucial in this
completely,
matchup.
in my opinion.
I
Mhm.
agree. Very much agree. And the reason it completely changes the matchup is because they need to guess right whether we're gonna just attack or vote switch, and we vote switch into Terapagos, Incin, or Terra Poison Hint. Uh,
Mhm.
and the body press goes into that slot. It can be very annoying for the Zamazenta player,
Yeah.
but if we are slower, we can't do that, and then we just body press us before we move, and we
Yeah,
don't
and it's
have
so tough.
protect, so they can just double us with Fluttermane or Shinpa or whatever they have in the side. But what do you
Yeah.
usually do in this matchup?
So yeah, funnily, my game plan actually kind of involves them like just stopping them from clicking body press entirely. Like, I'll lead Miraidon Incin. If they lead Zama Pow, as a lot of them tend to do, game one, the play is switch Miraidon out, hard switch Miraidon into hands, and fake out the Zam. So Zam doesn't move, and if they double protect, then I have another fake out on the board. Then you can, if Chien-Pao protected, then you get to just fake out Zam again, and you turn into the power slot, and they probably go to Amoonguss. Then Miraidon's on the field against Amoonguss Zam, and if they're not Terra Fairy Amoonguss, then you just Draco that slot and you get a kill, and you've probably won the game. And that was my approach to most Zama matchups. Is like try and have that game plan go off, and if it doesn't go off, like how do you like slightly adapt the turns, like based
Awesome.
on what they do to
Cool,
still reach a
cool,
similar
very
place.
nice, very nice. Yeah.
But like with double fake out and the faster Miraidon, like the matchup felt quite good, and like the option of Terra Poison on hands is like obviously like the big one as well. Like
Yeah,
Poison hands just
yeah.
carries
I'm
the
pretty sure
matchup.
we talked about this matchup on the venue on finals day.
Mm.
Uh, and I also like leading Incin Miraidon if my Miraidon is faster.
Mm.
Um, and one play that we can do also is fake out the Zamazenta while going for Terra Ghost, which is a bit weird, and vote switch
Mm.
the Shenpao. But that kind of makes sense because if they protect both, which they a lot of times do, you can vote switch next turn, and they need to guess right whether you're gonna switch out the Incin and bring it again or not. Um,
Yes, yeah.
so and if you get it right, it's like just like free damage for you, no damage for your opponent. Um,
That's really cool. Yeah,
Another
I'd never
gameplay
really
that
thought
I
of doing
had
that.
was leading with Incin and Rishi because I feel like this
Yeah, I
is
like it. I like Incineroar a lot as well because they're
yeah
not going to switch out Zams, so you
yeah
do just get the fake out CC turn one if you want it.
yeah yeah. They what they
That
usually do
what
for
I was
Incin
hmm, go
Urishi is
on.
they switch the Shenpao because Shenpao is a terrible spot and they need Shenpao for Miraidon, right?
Yeah, and like they got Helmet of Mugus in the back, so they want to bring it in on the Urshifu, right?
Yeah.
So
So it's free CC fake out on Zama. And I also
yeah,
like
when I
the
was
NC Urishi lead because I think
go on.
it's better on against Fluttermane as well.
Hmm.
But I
No,
very
when I
much like the NC Miraidon lead as well.
yeah, it feels very good. When I was slower on my ride on then Zamazenta's, I also you'd usually go Incineroar most games as the lead. Because I just didn't like leaving the Rhydon exposed turn one against like a potential PAL Zam stuff. Because like even if you go for like the Terragos like fake up the play, if you're slower, it just doesn't work. Cause like they can still just double it, right? And just it always felt like I was when I know that my Rhydon is slower than like probably the two things they're gonna lead. I just don't like having like even if you get the Volt Switch off and you survive because you're bulky, I just don't like taking that much damage when you don't have
Yeah,
to,
right.
and would
Makes
rather find
sense.
another way to
Makes
approach
sense.
it.
Uh, which is one of the reasons why I think Fluttermane and Koraidon can be very annoying depending on the
Yeah,
composition.
that's why it's why I was never ever gonna lead Rhydon into finals.
Yeah. And But there is one matchup that I actually think it's even more scary than any matchup we
Mhm.
mentioned, which is Zashian. I think Zashian's so difficult
Yeah,
for a team. Like a well
like
played Zashian team, like I just can't beat it.
well
Like
played.
the
Yeah,
like
I
no
did
way.
play against the I did play against the Asian Reggie Drago team in day one. That was one of my other losses, but not because of the matchup. Like I kind of didn't know what to do in game one, but it was like okay. Then game two, I realized that Miraidon Treads was just the lead because Drake they were leading Drago to force a Terra onto Miraidon so they can Behemoth Blade it later, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But Treads just Okos the Drago, so I do have to Terra Fairy, but like
Yeah,
they only
that's
do
fine.
half the Treads and
Yeah, I
nothing
think
to
the Hedge
Miraidon. Then I
Drago version is like easier, much easier.
yeah.
I was
So
facing some
the
Japanese players with
like
like
half flame and rapid strike, I was very scared of.
hard flame, rapid strike. Nice, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds very hard. Yeah, I saw some hard
Well,
flame versions. Like, forget it. You're not gonna beat that thing because Miraidon just
yeah.
like yeah, Miraidon just doesn't do anything. It's Zacian's so good. If they have like Shen Power or Landers or both,
Mhm.
like it's just so much Pokemon that pressure your Miraidon, and Zacian also pressures Urshian Hence, so it's just like
Yeah. I
really
think
hard.
it's I've just remembered it's specifically Swords Dance. I think if they're not Swords Dance, they like you. It's okay with Intimidate. I think. Like Bulky Miraidon actually lives like the neutral play rough a lot of the time. I think. But when they have the option to Swords Dance, it's so hard. I think.
Yeah, um, yeah. Uh, yeah, I don't think the Terra Ground version is actually like super annoying. I think it's more like
No, I don't really understand it to be honest because you hit Miraidon anyways with play rough.
yeah, I
I guess
don't
it's
get
for
it. I
Incin,
don't
but
get it.
it's Incin for neutral anyways.
I
So
think
yeah.
because like the only way we can damage Zacian is with electric move, so I guess that makes sense as a defensive option. But like, I think it's kind of weird. Uh,
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like Swords Dance is it's more annoying, or even like close combat or whatever, because they thread the Indian the threads.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
But yeah, I think there are a lot of restricted Pokemon that still don't have much visibility. I think Horizon had a lot of room to explore, and UIC showed us. And I think Zacian is also another restricted that can have a, maybe a big showing because it's just so good into Miraidon, and it can be good against other restricted too as well, like Calyrex-Ice. So I could
Mhm.
see it doing well in the future, but
When,
anyway,
when we get to have two of them, Zacian's definitely coming back, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Mm.
Joe, I want to hear from you. You're qualified now. Um, you also got a good prize money in the UIC.
Yeah.
Do you plan going to any more events this season other than
Um.
Worlds? Are you going to Worlds?
Yeah. I will be going to Worlds. Yeah. That's basically all. Like most of the money's just going into savings, but it's going to pay for me to get to Worlds as well, which is very exciting.
Nice,
Because
awesome.
I wasn't aiming for it this season because it just seemed like too much stress. Like I wasn't really able to afford to go to the events, and it'd be too much stress to try and get top 75 anyways. So yeah, but like I kind of said it before. This was literally the only way I possibly could have qualified for Worlds. So it's
Nice.
a
I'm
bit
very,
insane that it
very
did happen.
happy for you.
Yeah.
We didn't
Um.
know each other before the event, which is crazy. But I can
mm,
now say that after talking to you these days, I can definitely say you are such a nice guy, such a positive person, and
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm
No,
really glad I'm gonna see
it's
you
great talking
again.
to you as well. Yeah.
I'm really glad I'm gonna see you again this year, and
Mhm.
maybe we can even build together for Worlds. Let's see if you're down, of
Yeah.
course. 'Cause-
Absolutely, yeah.
but yeah,
We just take this team slot restricted in somewhere, like next to the Rhydon, and we're
yeah,
good
I
to
know,
go,
right?
right?
uh, but yeah, it was a huge pleasure to have you here
Mm.
in my channel. I don't know if you have any social media or anything that you want to share. Um,
Um, Not really, no. My Twitter is at stickbugged_lol if people
yeah,
want to find me there. But that's really it.
yeah. But I'm really, really happy to have you here, and I'm really happy
Yeah,
that
thank
you
you so
want to
much for
see
having me on.
for
This was
Worlds.
so much fun,
It was,
and
it
I
was.
hope we got to I hope we got to cover like enough of the team because I feel like we could have
Yes,
talked about it for
it's
hours.
very
Yeah.
nice because I got to learn a lot about the team here from you. Uh,
Mhm.
even
Well,
though
obviously, I've
I
learned a lot as
was
well from talking from the person who made it. So yeah,
yeah, I mean, I
great.
was just the first to came up with the six Pokemon. You kind of did your own spreads. You did your own
Mm.
changes. You made the team better. You have better game plans as well. Uh, Fun fact: me and Dill we faced the same person on UIC, and I lost to the person,
Mm.
but Dill defeated him. So
Well, you had we
I
did
had
go
a
over it.
slightly
It's
different
it's
team,
close
but
combat Hamza's fault. Like if you had to locate, it might have been
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But that we can still learn from
Mhm.
from someone that didn't build a team because
For sure.
you know exactly what is each thing for, and you know your damage calcs, you know your matchups, and I think this is what is
Yeah.
most important.
It,
I
it was
think no
something
one
I
cares
some
who was the first one to came up with the
mm,
six. I personally don't care. I would definitely prefer to have a second place in terms of the team than building the team.
yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
that's
something
awesome.
I was actually thinking like when we started because I was talking about how I'd like picked up the team in like basically like at the start of December is like how so like when did it how long did it come to be before Worlds? Like have I just got more playtime on it than you? I imagine I have at this point, right?
I don't know because like yeah after Worlds I didn't really play much,
Yeah.
so
So like
it's
how long were you playing it before Worlds? Like when around
with the
what point did you?
six like
Yeah.
uh, I actually don't remember because Iron Threads was a late addition to the team.
Mm.
So I think it was I think Iron Threads was like maybe 2 weeks before the
Or like
event.
even like five of the six, I guess, because it's mostly the same team.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know how many games I have with this team. I have no clue. Uh,
Yeah.
I I think I mean it
It's
doesn't
probably
matter.
close, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because this is basically all I've played
it
since
doesn't matter.
December
But
now.
it's a
Yeah.
I'm happy that you had a great finish because you definitely deserve. I
Yeah.
definitely didn't because when I had the opportunity to play this scene, I made mistakes. So, uh, yeah. Any final words?
Uh, no, not really. I don't think.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah. Thanks
It was an
for
honor
being
to
here. Such a
to play the
pleasure.
team and talk. Yeah.
Hopefully, it's not gonna be the last time we two are here together. Uh,
Yeah.
oh, but I have one, which is you missed six fucking Dracos on day one, right? You missed like you missed
What
more
was?
than you hate, right?
No.
You
Okay.
said
So
like
I clicked it 11 times and I only hit six.
okay,
That's
so
the
like
statistic.
that's
I don't.
insane. That's insane.
I might be one or two off. Like I might be miscounting a little bit, but it's basically that statistic. It's
No,
like
no, but
almost.
it's still insane. Like the fact that you missed so many times because usually for me it's like
Mm.
if I miss Draco meteors, I just can't win. like usually
Yeah.
if I'm playing with
Well, I
Miraidon,
think to
I
be
know
fair,
that
I
I
think
have to
I
win
did
against
lose the
Draco.
games where I missed them, but I just brought it back in like the other games of those sets. I
Yeah, so
think,
the fact
or
that you
like
got like
one of the sets I just lost, but the others, yeah.
yeah, the fact that you arguably got like unlucky with your it's pretty much the only move that can miss in the team. Like
Mhm.
everything else is
Yeah,
100% accuracy. Like the fact that you got very unlucky with the team and you still went so far, it's like super impressive. Uh,
I did. I got the luck kind of came back in day two. To be like one of my rounds, like admittedly, I only won because like Sansia needed to miss on one turn and it did.
I
So,
mean, you
but yeah,
play like
that's kind of
15
favored for the because
rounds.
of
If you got lucky in one
yeah,
game
it's
of
bound to
one
happen.
round,
Yeah.
it's not really luck, man. It's just
Well,
like statistics.
my top 16 set as well. I misplayed the end game. Like I think I had a guaranteed win and I missed it, but a crit bailed me out as well. But that's the game, I guess. Yeah.
What was your
That
top 16 match?
against Carl Livinghouse
Oh
with
yeah,
like
kind
the
of House.
wheezing team. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Like that VOD's up there on YouTube. Like you can rewatch it and see that. Yeah. Final turns of game three. I did
It's
just have an
on the
hour and I
Lava
didn't
Fest
take it.
channel.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
I think.
yeah,
Oh
I'm gonna
no, it was
watch
on a
it.
different channel. I think it was on a different channel. I
Okay,
think. Yeah.
oh yeah,
But still.
okay.
But I think
Uh,
that was genuine. So I played. I've not been going to tournaments for like I've only been going to tournaments for like a couple years now. But I think that was genuinely the first set I've ever like robbed a game three through RNG on, in that whole time.
I
And I've
hope
been
it's the
saying for a
first
while.
of
Like,
many.
I've been. I'm like. I'm not gonna like try and say that I'm like usually unlucky or anything, but it's like I have a fair few unlucky losses. So, but I've been saying for a while, when like the karma, when I finally do get a lucky win, is gonna be like, man, and yeah, it was for top 8 of internets, so that was insane.
I don't think I'm like particularly unlucky, but on
Mm.
string I always get unlucky. It's like insane. Like I don't know what is wrong with me, but like when I'm playing on string specifically, I always
Yeah,
get unlucky.
there's
But
something about that stream setup. Like, it's just rigged.
yeah.
Yeah,
But anyway,
yeah.
that's the video. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I'll make a smaller, quicker version in Portuguese with my EV spreads, just to just to show the Brazilians as well. Uh, and also, I'm not showing the my EV spreads here because a friend is gonna use the team on regionals this weekend. But it was a huge pleasure, and I hope you guys had as much fun as I and Jill had. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thanks so much.